my friends, this is Shelley, and I am so glad you clicked on this video. We are going to make these cute little piggies, the three little pigs, and I used Bernat premium yarn in the color way pink macaroon, so it's a little bit brighter and darker of a pink, and I love that. I think it turned out great. But then for that middle pig, I used Bernat yarn as well, but I did the ears and the snout and the tail and the belly button all in a lighter pink, and I like how that looks too. So there's variations. You can make them whatever color and whatever way you like. And I used my Addi 22 needle machine for this project. It's a quick project to make, and you're gonna wanna get right at it. Little hands are gonna love to hold these little cute little pigs. So all right, thanks for joining me. If you're ready, let's begin. We're going to take our 22 needle Addi. Oh, mine looks a little dusty, but that's okay. And we're going to bring our last white, our first black needle in line with our yarn feeder there, and we're going to cast on behind and in front all the way around. I don't count this row as row 1. I just cast on, and then I'm going to set my counter before I get all the way around. I'm setting it to 0. Okay, it's going to go in front of that last white needle and into my yarn feeder. And then we are ready. And we're going to just straight knit, just like this, circular knit for 55 rows. Okay? Simple. And this yarn, my machine loves, so I know I'm not gonna have any problems. So let me just keep going until I get 55 rows done. Then you're gonna complete that 55th row, and then we'll cast off, okay? So keep going until you get 55 rows done. All right, that wasn't too bad, was it? It went quite quick. Please forgive me for the sound that's in the background. It's my heater that's going. It's so nice and hot outside. I was outside suntanning, getting some color because I'm going to Greece next month. Can't wait. Oh, it's going to be so fun. Two of my girl cousins and I, we're going together as a cousin trip, and we're going to have an absolute ball. So I'm trying to get some color on my legs so I don't burn so bad when I'm out there and then have a bad time. So, but it's cold down here, so I put the heat on. But anyways, we cut off a long tail and we're going to cast off. So I've done my 55 rows. So once you thread your needle, you're going to just crank your machine, take off that first one that let go, and the next one I take off 3 or 4, and then I crank more. Okay, and the next one, and the next one, and then I'll release a few more at a time, just like that. Okay, and you're going to go around. When you take them off, hold them with your thumb. You're going to go around and take these all off the machine until you get all 22 stitches off. And then when you do that, keep your machine set up, because we're going to make some of the parts before we assemble. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make the arms next. Okay, so you're going to need the same machine. You're going to need the same yarn. Oops, I just snagged that one. I want to make sure I get that whole loop. There we go. And we're going to do a flat panel. So if you're using a Sentro and you don't have Addi stoppers, that's fine. Or you can use your Addi without the stoppers. I'll show you how you do it both ways. And just keep your 22 set up, grab your yarn, and we're going to begin the next part, making the arms with flat panels. All right, my friends, it's time to do the flat panel. And if you've never done a flat panel before, just follow these simple instructions and it's going to be no problem for you. Okay. I was really scared to do this at first, but once I started doing flat panels, like seriously, it's so much fun. Once you get the hang of it, you're going to want to do it all the time because it's fun. So you're going to have your black needles off to the right, and you're going to move your handle until you have white needles in front of the feeder. Then you're going to flip up your switch to flat panels. Then you're going to go back, okay? And then when you stop here, you're going to change your counter to 0. And then you're ready, okay? So we're going to cast on to 9 needles. So we're going to move it up to the white needle, okay? We're going to go behind that white needle, in front, behind, and in front, behind. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. After the 9th needle, we're going to go down underneath that divider that's to the left of it. We're going to open the latch, and we're going to put our yarn end into there, okay? If you have a stopper, okay, that looks like this, okay, it's a little bit wider on the one end and that goes to the bottom, then we're going to put the stopper on. So this is the last needle we're going to work. This is the divider that's to the left of it. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It takes 3 needles on the right side where the black keys are to have a turning needle, to make room for turning directions, but it takes 4 on this side because of this little piece that's jotted out there, okay? So that stopper is going to stop us when we get there. So we're going to continue going till we get there, and see, it hits up against the side there and it stops. Then from there, we're going to pull our working yarn from the back here, pull it tight until it goes over top of that divider. That needle will pick it up and we'll go back. This is row 2. You're going to loosen up your tension as the other needles work it. This is row 2. Okay. Then this is the first needle. It's going to go down over that divider. Pop. And then it automatically stops us because it's a panel there. Okay. So that was 1 rotation back and forth, 2 rows. We're going to go the next direction. Okay. This is the first needle. We're going to make sure that that loop is down over the red teeth, and you'll watch this divider. See how it's over top? It's going to pop down. Then you're going to give it a little snug pull just so that we have the edging of our fabric all nice and beautiful. And we're going to keep going till that stopper stops us. So we just finished row 3. Okay, then we're going to go back. It's going to go over that little divider. That needle's going to pick it up. You're going to give it a little tug just to make that edging really nice. Here comes this little one that's given us some difficulty. And we're going to keep going just like that. Now, the reason why the first and the last one give us difficulty is because there's no worked yarns on either side of it to give it tension to hold it in place. So it likes to cause a little bit of trouble there, okay? So my counter is counting number 2. We went there and back twice. So that's actually 4 rows. So keep that in mind, okay? So now I'm going to, you'll see this is needle 1. This is the divider. It's going to pop down over because our counter changes at the black keys, okay? This is our last needle. It's going to go down over that divider, and when it does, it's ready to turn back, but it pops down once this hits there. That's just enough space for it. We're going to put some tension on it, let that needle pick it up, then give a little more tension, then loosen it up, and then go down the other direction, okay? And when I get to the end, it'll stop me. My counter will say 3, but I've actually done 6 rows. That's why I have a video where I show you how to use the Addi stoppers. Look for the video on my channel because I show you how to do a flat plant panel in circular mode, not in flat panel mode, but in circular mode. And then we have these black keys needles in the middle of our panel. So if we're having a panel of 10, say, we have 5 on either side of the black needles. And then every time it passes by the needles, by the black needles, it counts every row. This is just counting every second row. Okay. So now I'm going to take my Addi stopper off because I want to show you if you have a Sentro and you don't have stoppers or you don't like to use them on your Addi, this is how you can determine where you turn, okay? So now this is the first needle worked. It's going to pop down over that divider. I'm going to give it a little tug to snug it up. I'm going to keep going. This is my last needle being worked. I can see that there's nothing there. So as soon as I pass that needle, I have to look at this divider. Soon as this yarn pops down under that divider, I know I'm ready to turn back, okay? So then I put some tension on it. It's going to pop down under there as this needle picks it up. I'm going to snug it up just a little bit, and then I'm going to keep going. Okay, let's do that one more time. So this will be 8 rows completed. Now I'm going to start my 9th row. It's going to pop down over that. The needle's going to pick it up. I'm going to snug it up a little bit. Okay, this is my 9th needle. I'm going to let my needle pick it up. Then this next needle picks it up and pops it down over that divider. And then I can come back. Okay. So it's telling me 5. So I know I've done 10 rows. Okay. And I want to do, how many rows am I doing? 12 in total. Okay. So I'm going to do one more rotation. Okay. So now we've got 12 rows. That end needle, the 9th needle, doesn't look very good to me. That row doesn't look very good, but once we get it off, it's going to be fine. All right, so once we have that done, we're going to cut off an end and we're going to cast off, okay? Cut off a long tail because you're going to use it to sew. Open your latch, take that out, then you're going to just feed it back, and we're going to begin our cast off. And you're going to make 2 of these. See, they're fun. They're not hard at all. Once you get the hang of it, and you know what, I do think it's actually easier to do a bigger piece because there's more weight to it. So I mean, if you're wanting to attempt one of the items on my channel, or you know, any other items that you've seen on other channels with flat panels, this is the same technique whether you use 9 needles or whether you use 43, and it's just really, really fun. So challenge yourself, and go for it, and you're gonna love it. Okay, so go ahead. That's what it looks like off the machine. You're gonna stretch it both directions, okay, and you're gonna make another one, and then when you have that done, I'll see you back. All right, so there are my 2 little arms. Once we stretch them out, we'll sew them down the side. They'll be ready to put on. But before we do that, because I have my machine set up, I'm going to now go and work on the ears. I'm actually doing 3 pigs at a time. So when I did my bodies, I did 3 bodies. Then now I just did 6 arms, and now I'll do 6 ears. All right, so we are moving right along. For this video, I decided I was going to make all the pieces before we did any of the assembly. Okay, so for this next part, we're going to need waste yarn, and this is for the ears. So we're going to do a flat panel again. Okay, so we're going to get that ready, and we're going to use 5 needles. Okay, so we're going to go behind and in front, behind and in front, behind, and then underneath that divider into our yarn feeder. Okay, and then we're going to go back. I'm not even going to set my counter. This is waste yarn. Oops. So I went a little bit too far there, but no worries, because it's not knitting anything. So I'm just going to take it out of there, go like that. Okay. And I'm going to go back and forth till I get several rows of waste yarn. Okay. Come on, you. Just like that. Okay. I'm not even using my my Addi stoppers, because for teaching purposes, and when you're just learning, they're nice to use, but once you get used to doing flat panels and you've made quite a few of them, you're probably not going to grab your stoppers very, very quickly. I find that it's just as easy to do it without the stoppers, if not even, well, it's not easier, but it's just as easy. Okay, so that's enough for my waste yarn. Now I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to save that because I'm going to add it again. Okay, so we are going to now add our pink yarn. Let me see here. Yep, and we're going to do 8 rows. So I'm going to put that in there, and I'm going to, that's 1. Come on. The end ones are always the ones that will give you a little bit of trouble, like we talked about. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how fast this is? 6, 7, and back is 8. Okay, then we're going to cut off. I'll cut off about a foot. That'll be too much, but I'm going to cut off about a foot just because we need it for sewing. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my waste yarn again. And I'll do as many waste yarn rows as I feel comfortable doing. Okay, so I always just hook that underneath that divider and just hold my finger there. It just helps guide it into that first needle. Okay, a little bit easier. So that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 okay, and 5 and 6 and 7, and I'll go back one more time, and 8. Okay, so we're going to cut our waste yarn. We're going to open the latch, take it out, and we're going to go back and forth and let it release. Okay, so there we go. We've got one piece just like that, and we're going to close the end up in a certain way, and then turn it into a triangle, which is very easy to do. But we're going to make one more of those. I'll go off camera to do that. So you're going to make one more ear, and then we're going to come back and do a tail. Okay, and that's quick too. So all these pieces are really quick to do, and so that's what makes this such a fun project. So go ahead and do that, and I'll see you back. Okay, so we have that done, and we have one more little piece to do, and we're going to again do a flat panel over 3 needles. Now I'm not even going to go to where my black needles are here. I'm just going to go anywhere in the machine because I can, and it's just I'll just want to show you. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then underneath, just like we've normally done, and we are going to do, what did I say, 14 rows. Okay, so that's 1. Okay, that's over 3 needles. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, and do 14 rows. Okay, and then cast off, just like what we've done before. 6, this is 7. Okay, because there's only 3, then these end needles really do give you a little bit of havoc, but that's okay. So keep going until you get 14 rows done, and when you get 14 rows done, then cut off a tail and then cast off. We've done it before, so just do it the same way, and then I'm going to remove my Addi, and we'll move on to assembly. All right. Okay, just when you thought you were done, I forgot to tell you that you need to do this nose. Okay, so you're going to also do a flat panel for the nose. You're going to use 5 needles. So you're going to cast on 5 needles, no waste yarn, just 5 needles and 8 rows. Okay, then you're going to cast off. So same way we did the arms, just 5 needles, 8 rows. Okay, cast off, and that will be this little nose. So go ahead and do that as well, and then we can continue on with the assembly. All right, so there you have it. This is what we've got. We've got our body. We've got our little ears. They don't look like they're, our arms. They don't look like they're big enough to be arms, but they are. We've got our ears, and we've got our tail. So we're going to put these ones aside for just a second, and we're going to work on this one, okay? So you're going to take your body, you're going to stretch it widthwise and lengthwise like we always do. Line up those stitches, make it smoother, softer. You're going to take the one end and you're going to pull it tight. Okay, I'm going to lower my camera 1 second. Okay, so we are going to cinch it and make it like it's a beanie. Even though it's not a beanie, it's the same technique. Okay, so we're going to just reinforce around that top row of stitches. Just once is all you need to do. Okay, then you're going to pick up a couple stitches or just 1 bar there, just to tie it off in a knot. That's just to secure it. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to turn your rings around so they don't snag anything. You're going to stick that needle in that center hole, right like that. You're going to grab the tip so it doesn't snag down your material. And then you're going to pinch the top, and you're going to take that end in through to the other side, okay? Pull that through just like that. I'm going to go ahead and cut this yarn end off. Don't need it that long. But if it's really long, you can use it for the next part. So because we're going to need to have a piece of yarn for separating the body from the head, okay? So then we've got this opening down here, and we've got this happening up at the top there. We're going to go ahead, and we're going to now cinch that top part closed. Okay, just go around once, just like we did the other half, okay? So thread your needle. If it will let you. Okay. And then just reinforce this side right here. Get that out of the way and just go around the top just one time to reinforce it. When little hands are playing with this, you want to make sure that it's secure and that it's not going to come apart. So I just go around once. These little pigs are so cute. You know what inspired these is that as most of you who follow my channel know, my mother passed away unexpectedly. It's been about 6 weeks now. She passed away unexpectedly. So yes, yesterday was my first Mother's Day, with my mom being gone. So that was hard. But I've got something from her. I'm just going to grab it. Here it is. I remember this set from when I was a little kid. When I was like really little. So this is very, very old. And it's little pigs in a basket. Just the cutest little thing. These are porcelain. And I thought, I'm going to make some little pigs. And so my pigs aren't nearly as cute as this. And they're not like this in any way. They don't look like this, but they're still pigs. And this inspired that. We get inspired as crafters from all sorts of different things. And I got inspired by that and thought, I'm going to make some pigs. So that's why we're doing this, okay? So I'm going to now turn that inside out so my rough edges, my little ends are on the inside. Then you're going to stick your hand in there and you're going to smooth it out so that you have it exactly in half. Okay? There we go. And that little piece is going to be our pig. Once we have it nice and smoothed, we're going to take our needle. I'm going to take this other one. We're going to put a piece of yarn on there, about a foot long. Then you're going to count up the stitches from the bottom here, okay? You're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And when you get up to row 16 or 17, somewhere in there, we're going to cinch it, okay? So we're going to go under 2 bars. Usually I go under 2 and over 2, but for this project I went under 2, over 1. Under 2, over 1, under 2, over 1, all the way around until I meet back up on the other side, making sure you don't pull this all the way through, okay? Under 2, over 1, under 2, over 1, all the way around until you meet up to the other side, okay? So go ahead and do that until you meet the other end, and then I'll see you back. Okay, so I made it around, and it looks similar to that. I'm going to take some fiber fill and I'm going to stuff the head. Okay, get it up in there, and then if you pull this a little bit you can see how much you're getting. Okay, you can see if you need more or not, and I just need just a tiny wee bit more, not a lot, just a smidgen more. Okay, tuck it up in there. That's plenty. Might even be a tiny bit too much now. Okay, it's all a trial and error game. So now I'm going to take these 2 strings, 2 yarn ends, and I'm going to tie them. I'm going to tie them as tight as I can, making sure I push all that yarn up into there as tight as I can without breaking them. Then I'm going to tie a knot. And then generally I will go around again, weaving in and out, but on this small piece I don't need to. I'm just going to wrap this right around, just like that. So it went around once, and now I'm going to tie another knot. Okay, tie it tight, just like that. Okay, then you're going to go ahead, put these ends on your needle, and you're going to hide them. Up through the head, cut them off, work those stitches up. Okay, and we've got our little head. Perfect. Okay, now you're going to stuff the body. But you're also going to get another piece of yarn, okay, that we're going to use to make the legs. And I'll get that ready before I go ahead and stuff. Now I'm going to grab my fiber fill, and I'm going to stuff the body, okay? Just the same way I did the head. We don't want to overstuff. We want to have it nice, but we don't want to overstuff because we don't want to have our rows separating like that because you've stuffed it too full. See how nice that is? It's nice and firm and it's round, but we're not compromising the rows by them pulling apart like that, because then you start to get a project that doesn't look very nice. So you want to fill it in, but you want to be careful not to overfill. All right, so once you get that done, you're going to turn your piece upside down. You're going to find the center, okay? So I'm going to say that's the center, and I'm going to go right across to the center on the other side. And I'm simply going to tie a knot. I'm going to make sure this end is a little bit shorter, the other end, because I'm going to hide that end. Then I don't have so much waste. And I'm going to tie a knot just like that. And another. I'm going to right away take this other one and hide it just so that I can get it out of the way and not have to fight with yarn ends. That's the worst thing, is having to fight around yarn ends. I'm going to just poke that in there, pull it up, cut it off. It's done, out of my way. Okay, now we've got a base that looks like this. I'm going to raise my camera again. All right, so we have a base that looks like this, and what we're going to do is we're going to make the leg, form the leg. So we're going to go just a little bit below and pull that through. We'll sew up the other part a little bit later. Follow that same row up and come into that same row that you're working on there so that it stays even. And then we're going to go up just a little bit further. Not too far. Just a little bit further. Maybe one more. Just like that. And then I'm going to go back down and try to come up into that same row just to reinforce it, okay? And there you can see the separation has begun. Okay? And I'm going to come around just like this to reinforce it. And from there, so this is the front. You see that? That's the front, or that's the front, whichever one you like. Okay, but now what we're going to do is we're going to turn him on his head, and we're going to fold this closed. Okay, so now my yarn end is in the center there. I'm going to bring it over to the center on this side. Okay, and then I'm simply going to stitch this closed. Just like so. And this will have formed the two legs. I'm going to get into that corner there. I'm going to give it a little knot. Then I'm going to just bring it through to the center. Don't pull on it because you want to have that point, okay? And then you're going to just seam up the other side in like manner. And when you get this seamed, tie off another little knot there and then trail it back. And the reason why I'm tying off a knot is because when I trail it back and start here, I don't want this to pull and then gather this in this way. I want it to stay nice and crisp edges like that, okay? So then once you finish sewing that up, you're going to come back into the middle here and you're going to do the same thing on this side, okay? And that is how we're forming our legs. So go ahead and do that. And when you have that finished, we'll move on to the next part. Okay, now isn't this just the cutest little thing? Just such a nice size. It fits in the palm of your hands just like beautifully. Okay, so now we're going to grab the snout. So I didn't do that on camera with you, but I added a little insert telling you what to do. It was 5 needles and 8 rows, and that's what this is. So that we're going to pull that one end and then the other end to cinch just like that. Okay, just simply done like that. And then I'm just going to tie this off into a little knot at the corner here. Okay, just like so. And I'm going to do it on the other side as well. Now, you'll see in one of the pigs that's in the beginning of the video that I used a different shade of pink. For this particular project that I'm doing with you, I've used the same color throughout, and we've kept our pig one solid color. But you will notice that one of the pigs on the front video has a lighter pink. I used a different shade of pink for the nose and for the ears. So you can do that too. You can make it your own. Use whatever colors you like, okay? But I'm going to go ahead and thread my needle. Now that we've got those ends tied off, okay? We're going to go ahead. I'm going to have to quit soon because it's getting dark. And we're going to put it close to the middle. So if we're going to line it up with the legs, making sure like this is the middle, so you go up and use that as a guide. But often we put our mouths a little bit lower like that. We want this close to the middle, just below the middle, okay? And then I'm just going to go in, I'm going to pick up a stitch, come back up into that corner and attach it. And I'm going to make sure it's straight. And I'm going to come across just like this, pick up the edge. And I'm going to sew this on just like that. I'm not going to add any fiber fill. You can add a tiny little bit if you want. I'm not going to in this one. I'm just going to, as I do it, I'm going to puff it up like this. I'm not going to flatten it out like that on the face. I'm going to puff it out just like that. And so then when I sew it on, it's going to have a natural, it's going to naturally look like it's a bit stuffed. Okay, don't make it too narrow though. You don't want it too narrow. You want it to look like a nose, like a nose, excuse me. Okay, so you're gonna go around your piece as close to the part that you're sewing on as you can, because again, I always mention you don't want to see sewing lines on when you're putting your facial parts on. You want to have them look like they have always been attached and not sewn on. Okay, and so then we're gonna just keep going all the way around our nose until I get to the other side, and when I'm done that, I'll see you back. All right, so I made it around. I'm gonna just tie it off. That's my second knot, okay? And then I'm gonna just poke that in, push it through the fiber fill, out the back or side or wherever, cut it off. Then you can take your needle and you lift that up so that that yarn end goes in, and you reform that head where you pulled it out, okay? And now it's sort of looking like a little duck, but it will soon look like a little pig, okay? Once we get the ears on, it's going to take shape. So I'm going to, actually we're gonna grab our arms next, and we're simply going to stretch them out too, and then we're going to tighten up the ends, just like we've been doing. Except for this one, we're going to do a little bit of mattress stitch, okay? Okay, so I'm going to grab my needle, put it on the one end, and we're gonna mattress stitch this closed, okay? So I'm gonna go as close to the edge as I possibly can. Generally, when we're doing blankets and stuff, when we're mattress stitching, I would tell you to find the row where the wide part of the stitch is at the bottom and the point is up here on both sides. But for this, I'm going to just grab it how it is. Lucky for me, that's how it is, okay? Because there's a wide part on this one too. So I'm going to go into that bottom stitch and I'm going to go up and pick up 2 bars, just like that. I'm going to go across and I'm going to do the same thing, okay? I'm going to pick up 2 bars. Then I'm going to head back across to this other side, pick up 2 bars. And again, over here, we're going to work our way up, all the way up, just doing the same thing to close this side off, okay? Very simply done. And very quickly done because there's not many rows on these arms. So there we go. I'm going to do one more and then I'm going to pull it tight and then continue, okay? So I'll get one more side done, and then we're going to just pinch it at the bottom here. Then we're going to pull this working yarn, and that's going to seam it up, okay? Seam it up closed just like that. Then I'm going to just stretch it out so that it's not puckering, and I'm going to continue that up, okay? Looks like this one is a little bit funny of an end, but that's okay. We'll use that for sewing. So I'm going to just go into here and figure it out because it started to unravel, I think, and that's what the problem is. But we're going to make this little thing work. Okay, just like that. That's what I don't want. See, when I pulled that, it puckered it in there. That takes away from the look. You want to stretch it out so that it looks great, okay? And then I'm going to just pick up these stitches along the edge with my needle, okay? The stitches from the other side. And I'm just going to pull them tight just to finish that off, because it was a little bit, it looks a little bit messy in there because this one was letting go. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this one a little bit shorter. The other one's on my needle. And it's okay that that's a little bit bunchy because it's going to be sewn against the body. So I'll show you in just one second. I'm not too concerned about that. And so I'm going to take this end right here and I'm going to hide it into the arm. Just like so. Cut it off. Okay, and you're going to find where your seam was. If you can find it, if you can see it, mine's right there. And you're going to put that in the back, okay? So you're going to just hold that so it's in the back. You're going to go ahead and put your needle back on your piece here. And then, because this is where my seam was, I'm going to have that along the side. And I'm just going, see how much longer that is? It looks so small and so short, but it's perfect length. So I'm going, this is in the center of my piece. And if it wasn't in the center, I would work it into the center because that's how I always start my arms, okay? And then I'm going to grab my piece and I'm going to follow the center up here. I'm going to poke my needle into there. This is how you get your arm centered, centered, okay? You start in the center of the piece. Instead of at the end, you start in the center, and that always helps me. Okay, making sure that that seam is on the back. And then you're going to pick up another piece and you're going to go into the head and pick up a piece. And once again, into the arm and into the neck. And then you're going to go across to the other side. Okay, so I'm going to just weave that in to the center because I don't need to put a second seam across there. So I'm just going to weave that into the center just like so. I'm going to tuck that little loose stitch that's there. I mean, it's not loose, it's not going to come apart, but it is, it's just a little loopy, and that's why I'm hiding it there. Okay. Pull that in, then I'm going to go through the top, into the back, back into the neck, just like so, and one more closer to the side there. And sew that on good and tight. Just like that. Okay, there's my arm. This is that little stitch, and you know what, all I'm going to do with that is take my crochet hook. Just one of the stitches was a little loopy, a little bigger than it should be. So I'm going to just tuck that in like that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tie this off, but I'm going to grab that loop. Didn't tuck in very well, so I'm going to grab it again. You can always fix it. There's always a way to fix it, okay? Especially on such a little guy like this. And then I'm going to tie that off. There, that pulled that up. That pulled that right up. You can't even tell now, okay? And then I'm going to tie one more knot. And I'll probably, yeah, just like that. And then I will hide that in the head, pull it out the back to secure. Cut it off. And there we have our arm. And I'm going to go ahead and do that with the other arm. Do the same thing, attach it to the other side, and then we will work on the ears and the facial features, and then we will be done. Our little piggy, so cute. We'll have to add the tail too, but go ahead and add this arm, and then when you're done that, we'll work on the ears together. All right, so I've got my arms done, and I always tell you in all my videos that we got to pay attention to detail. And I wasn't going to follow my own advice there for a second, but then I decided, okay, I'm going to pay attention to detail. And I took that little arm off because I could not hide that little bump that was right there. And I made another one, and now it looks much, much better. Okay, and then for the nose, I wanted to make it a little bit rounder. So what I did is I took a piece of yarn, put it on my needle, and then I put it through from one end right here to the other like that. Don't touch, sweetheart. and I left my tail out, then I went through from this side to this side, and then I just pulled on it and tied a knot. And that pulled this nose together just a little bit like that. I tied a knot, then I hit it in through the head, and it makes it look a little bit more round, and I think that that looks a lot better. So that's what we're going to do with our nose. Okay, now we're going to move on to the ears. All right, so now we're going to do the ears. We're going to make it look like that, okay? So you're going to take your piece, you're going to take a crochet hook. Now I'm using a 4mm. You could use 4mm or smaller would work. A bigger one would be harder to use. We know that we did 5 rows, so we're going to count our stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one way up here in the corner is 5. So you're going to put your hook underneath that stitch. It's hard to get into, but you can do it. Okay, and then you're going to go over to this 4th one. You're going to pick it up with your hook, and you're going to put it through that stitch, that loop that's on your hook. So then you're going to go to the next one, the 3rd stitch, and you're going to put that through the loop on your hook, and you're going to do that right across, okay? So that we've worked all 5 stitches in a slip stitch across the top, okay? Oops, I only took half of that stitch.
I wanted oil.
Okay, yeah, 1 second, sweetheart, 1 second. Okay,
Turn it off.
I have a little 2.5-year-old with me. Okay, I thought I could sneak this in, but it might not work. 1 second, sweetheart. 1 second. Okay, then you're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull it through, and you're going to finish that stitch, okay? Then you're going to remove your waste yarn. You're going to go ahead, and you're going to do that on the other side as well, starting with the side that does not have the yarn tails, because you want to be able to finish it off. This side's a little bit harder, but always count. If you pull this little green end here, right there, you'll see that very last stitch right there. So work that one there, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then close that off and remove your waste yarn from that end as well, and then we will sew it up into a triangle. Okay, all right, so now that you've got both of those done, you've got a little square here that looks just like that. Okay, so you're going to hide this one end, the shorter end. I'm going to actually cut it off a little bit shorter. I'm going to hide it a little bit. Then I'm going to take that one corner, and I'm going to turn it up to match that other corner, just like that, to make it a triangle. Okay, then we're going to put our yarn on our needle. Okay, so kitty corner, just like this, right across to make a triangle, and then we're going to just sew up the end, just like this, back and forth. Okay, and then from there I'm going to tie off a little knot on the corner, just to point that, make that corner a little bit pointy. Then I'm going to go in to the center and out the middle, or the bottom again, the bottom point. Okay, being careful not to pull that so tight that I take away from the shape of it. Then I'm going to sew up this end, just like that, all the way to the corner. You can hear the little voice in the background. I have a little helper with me today. Are you my little helper? Yeah. Yeah? You're Nana's little helper?
Yeah.
That's good. I appreciate your help. And there we've got our little triangle that looks just like that. Now we're going to sew it onto the head. Okay, so to do that, we're going to, there's the center of the head right there. We're going to go down just a little bit from the center there. Pick up a stitch and put our ear in place just like that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go through just the very bottom like that. Just pick up a little bit. It's such a tiny little thing, it's sometimes hard to pick up. But you're going to just pick that up, and then you're going to pick up another stitch on the head. Okay, and then pick up another little piece of the ear. She's playing with little stuffed animals, saying, "Are you having fun?" And then we're going to just keep going till we get all the way down to the end point, okay? So keep sewing that on until you get all the way down. And isn't that just looking like a cute little piggy already? It's so adorable. Okay, so finish sewing your ear on. Then we're going to do the tail next and follow that by the face. All right, so we've got the ears on, and one just little tip for you is make sure that the point of the ears is snug to the head, okay? See how this one, I left this one intently so you can see. There's a little straight part there because I didn't sew it down far enough. So I'm going to take a piece of yarn, I'm going to attach it, and I'm going to sew this down like that. Then it looks more, it's just one of those fine details that makes it look a little bit better. So you don't want to have a little ridge in there. You want this to be right close to the head. Okay, so go ahead. Now, when you're done that, you're gonna grab your tail. All right, so here's the tail. It's time to put the tail on. All you're gonna do is pull that end closed and pull the other end nice and closed. And you've got a little tail that's like that, okay? Pull that knot down. And then all I did is I took one end, thread it through. Then we're not going to sew this closed. We don't need to, it's too small. But what I did do is I just took this one and I just weaved it up and down, just through that piece to meet to the other tail, to the other yarn end tail. Okay, just like that. And then you're going to just take it and you're going to just pull it slightly, just like that. And it crinkles it up a little bit and makes it look more like a pigtail, okay? Then I'm gonna tie that off very gently because I don't want it to get too small. There we go. See, it looks like it's just a little curly, just because we just manipulated that yarn thread a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna hide this end, and then I'm simply gonna sew the other one on. I'm trying to get some of this done while my little one is occupying herself. She's not my little one. My daughter's best friends have a little, she's one of their children. She's almost 3, but I'm Nana to her and my husband is Papa. So she's here visiting today and we love having her here. Okay, so we're gonna now take that other tail. But I figured while she was here, I would occupy her and I would try to get some of this done, okay? And then we're going to take that tail, we're gonna line it up with the legs there, and we're just going to go up just a little bit below center, pull a stitch, and sew it on. This is just so easy to sew on because it doesn't take many stitches. I'm just gonna reinforce it maybe twice. So once and twice. Tie it off with a knot and one more knot. I'm going to actually take this little piece right here, move it over to the center, and then I'll just knot it again. Okay, just like that. Then I'm going to take this, like we always do, hide it up through the body underneath the stuffing, cut it off. Okay, so there we got our little pigtail. So cute. Okay, so now we're gonna do his little belly button. So I've got my gray thread. I'm gonna go up from the side. We're just going to make a little cross. Okay, so down into this bottom right corner and over to the bottom left corner and up to the top right corner. And down and out, just like that. And we've got a little detail. He's so cute. Okay, so what you're gonna do now is you're gonna tie this one off just like we did the others, and you're gonna hide it into your project. All right, so we are going to use our black yarn. I've got it on my needle already. Very easy to do because it's just one strand, okay? So we're gonna come up through the side, up just above the corner of the nose there. Okay, and we're going to go across just half a stitch, then up where we want the other eye to be. See, just one little line like that, and over half a stitch here, and up into the middle of the nose, but at the end middle. See, there we go, we got our eye. Do I like how that's positioned? Let me turn it around here. I think they need to be farther apart. So I'm going to take them out. I know sometimes we have people who comment on my Facebook group that they have trouble doing the faces. And you know what? It's really a difficult thing for all of us. Even the simplest faces can sometimes take a little bit of extra concentration. Okay, so this is the end of the nose right there, just so you can see. So I'm just right off to the side of it. And then I'm gonna come up. I just went a little bit farther. I thought they were too close. That's better. So this is the edge of the nose. And this is where I started it, just a little bit below and went up very, very slightly. I'm gonna come down here. I'm gonna head her over to the middle of the nose at the end middle. Okay. Let me see what I think of that before I continue on. I think that's better. And I'm just going to do one little stitch right across. Hardly put it in. And then I'm going to come underneath and over to this side here. Because this is such a little guy, you only need one strand. You don't need 2 strands. Okay? 2 or 3 strands. And then I'm going to go in on there. That might be too big, but I'll see once I come out the other end. Okay? Out where I came in. Then I'm going to just pull on it and assess the situation. Okay? From this little piggy. And that's good. You know what? I do have safety eyes. I have lots of safety eyes. Since I started my channel, I haven't used them safety eyes on my animals at all. Because sometimes I am leery of them when little kids are playing with them, to be honest with you. But I know that if you put them on properly, you likely will not have a problem with them. But I just don't know. If I know there's a little kid playing with it, I prefer to do it this way. Even though I do agree that the safety eyes sometimes look a little bit better. But that's okay. I'd rather be safe than sorry. Okay, so we're going to take that. But I don't judge anybody who uses the safety eyes, just so you know. We all have our own comfort levels with it. And then I'm going to just lift that up. Cut this off. And lift it up here to tuck it. And there we go. 2 little piggies. And there they are. Aren't they sweet? They're just the cutest thing. Do you think these piggies are cute, Rome?
I was really too late.
I have a little 2.5-year-old here, like I have mentioned. But here we go. I am, the light's over here, sweetheart. But I'm going to now go and give her some well-deserved attention as she let me finish this. And yeah, and there we go. And I'll finish the 3rd one, and then I will get this video out there. All right, so here they are. I did this one a little bit different. I used a lighter pink, also from Bernat yarn, and I did the ears and the nose and the little tail and the little belly button with that pink. I actually really like how that looks and how that turned out. You have so many options. Like you can do a different color for just the first part of the hands and the bottom of the feet. You got lots of options, okay? But here are our 3 little piggies. And don't you think that would be so cute if you could buy the book? There's a kid's storybook called The 3 Little Pigs. Go ahead and look for that book. Buy a book, make your little pigs, and give it as a gift. It'd be such a great little gift item for any little kid to have. So there you go. There's my 3 little pigs. Thank you for joining me in this tutorial. It was really great spending time with you again. Make sure that you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't, and come on over and visit us at my Facebook page if you haven't done so already. Okay, so thanks again, my friends. Have a wonderful day.